A Darwin Award is given to those who remove themselves from the gene pool in the dumbest ways possible. For example, taking a selfie with a wild animal, poking a bear, or reading this on a train track. But humans aren't the only animals that have earned these awards. The fossil record is full of prehistoric animals that died in the most brutal, unlucky, and downright stupid ways. But it's exactly these kind of deaths that let us witness behavior from animals we'd otherwise know almost nothing about. Take these two for example. Dinosaurs so stubborn they wouldn't stop fighting even after they've been buried alive. On one side, Protoceratops, a sheep-sized relative of Triceratops with a beak strong enough to slice your hand clean off. On the other, Velociraptor, a turkey-sized predator armed with a sharp curved sickle claw. And what we're left with is one of the most dynamic fossils ever found. The moment of a battle to the death. With Protoceratops biting down so hard, it may have shattered the raptor's arm, if not bite it off entirely. Meanwhile, the Velociraptor is driving its claw straight into the Protoceratops' neck. Now this is one of the only times we've seen active predation in the fossil record, but what it suggests is even crazier. Because Velociraptor was tiny compared to Protoceratops, so was this just a desperate gamble for food? Or could it be evidence of pack hunting gone horribly wrong? Either way, the results, the first dinosaurs we can confidently say had that dog in them. But somehow this wasn't the only fossil that captured the exact second an animal made the worst possible decision of its life. Except this time, it wasn't dinosaurs. You've probably heard the line, there's always a bigger fish. Though I bet you didn't know, we have a fossil that literally proves it. But first, we're gonna need to talk about pterosaurs. These were the flying reptiles that ruled the skies through much of the Mesozoic. They weren't dinosaurs, but their roots actually go back to the Triassic with these little almost dinosaur looking things. And then they exploded into every shape and size imaginable. Some were insect hunters with wingspans shorter than your arm. Others like Quetzalcoatlus were giraffe-sized giants that could probably swallow you whole. But many pterosaurs hunted fish, skimming over lakes or diving near the surface of the ocean to snap up prey. And that's exactly what one was doing 150 million years ago. This was Rhamphorhynchus, an animal perfectly adapted for that fishing lifestyle, as its teeth were designed to grab up even the most slippery of prey. Except this fishing trip didn't end the way it was supposed to. This fossil shows the pterosaur swooping down, grabbing a fish, and legitimately mid-swallow, a long spear-snouted fish, Aspidorhynchus, drove its jaws straight through the pterosaur's wing, dragging both animals underwater. But the dumbest part of the whole thing, the fish was just way too small to actually be hunting the pterosaur. So this wasn't even a real predation attempt. It just saw some movement, then its instincts kicked in, and made a split-second decision that got fossilized for eternity. And this wasn't just some freak accident either. Paleontologists have actually found a few other fossils of the exact same thing. Altogether, it comes up as one of the dumbest food chain fossils ever. A fish in a pterosaur in a fish. But not every prehistoric animal went out in dumb ways. Some of them lived lives so brutal it's a miracle they lasted as long as they did. Case in point, T-Rex. Everyone knows how insane they were, but I still don't think you fully get the absurdity of it. Take Sue. It's one of the biggest and most complete T-Rex ever found. Her bones are basically a medical record preserved in stone. You've got broken ribs, a leg bone so infected it swelled to twice its normal size, and mysterious holes in her jaw. And yet, she survived it all, long enough to develop arthritis in her spine. In other words, Sue didn't just recover from injuries that would kill most animals. She pushed all the way into old age. And then there's Stan. If Sue is proof T-Rex could take a beating, Stan is proof they could take it from each other. A single adult is estimated to have had around 40 square miles of land just for itself. That's larger than the entire island of Manhattan, or about the size of San Francisco, which meant most of the time, these giant predators stayed pretty spread out. But when two occasionally crossed paths, things got bloody. Stan's skull and neck are peppered with healed puncture marks that exactly match T-Rex teeth. One bite went straight through the back of his head, literally into the brain case itself. Now for any animal that wasn't a T-Rex, that probably would mean death. But Stan's wounds, they healed. But being an apex predator doesn't always make you untouchable, especially in places like the Morrison Formation, because this is where Allosaurus lived. This was the most dominant carnivore in its ecosystem. It measured around 30 feet long and over 2 tons. If it existed today, it would be by far the largest land predator on Earth. And yet, every time an Allosaurus went to hunt, it was basically gambling with its life, as the Morrison was one of those rare ecosystems in Earth's history where the prey could be far deadlier than the predators. Diplodocus carried a tail alone that stretched over 40 feet long and could hit you with enough force to snap any bone. And then there was Stegosaurus. Stegosaurus had what may have been the most dangerous weapon in the history of animals, the Thagomizer. 4 spikes on the end of its tail, each the size of a sword, swung with enough power to drive clean through you. And Allosaurus knew this firsthand, because we've got a fossil of one that picked a fight with Stegosaurus and lost. One swing of that tail sent a spike straight through its pelvis, breaking bone and leaving an infection that ended up killing it. That's the reality of living in a world where dinner could kill you right back. And even knowing all of that, Allosaurus kept going after them, because we found a Stegosaurus backplate with a crescent-shaped bite mark that near perfectly matches in Allosaurus' jaw. Still, not everything in the fossil record is a clash of titans. Sometimes, it's a single step.